Sweetie, Preston, come here. Come here. Please. Okay, so I found out the cause of their frustration, which is that they don't really understand the whole social hierarchies and what's going on, and are very smart, and they didn't do very well in school, and they didn't do any extracurriculars. There's nothing really, any skill sets that they could like bank on, right? And not to mention their preferences are oriented towards boring activities. So they're not very fun on top of that, and because of all those things combined, and all the fact that they're unattractive, right? I mean, I think that's what their parents were going for, which is they wanted to make sure that they were financially stable, so they didn't have to worry about food or a place to sleep or even finding a job. Like even in the case that they couldn't find employment, they don't have to worry about lacking access to those types of resources, right? But if in order to access those resources, they kind of need to have some sort of skill set, including social skills. So they weren't really thinking very far. They're just thinking very, very short term, right? Like very immediate type of planning, right? Like kind of like winging it off the top of their head, right? And it might have worked for a bit, and it might have worked out if they had really good genes, which I think was an oversight, right? Like they didn't really consider the type of person that they were. Like face the truth, face the music about what kind of person are you, and what's your genetics, and what kind of family are you from? Like, what's the likelihood of how your kids will turn out, and are you really that important or that intelligent comparative to other people? Or it's taking into consideration what everyone else is like and what you're like, That is very helpful, because then you can assess your levels and understand the limitations and avoid pitfalls, right? That's what everybody does, I'm assuming, right? I'm like, why wouldn't you? But that's what they didn't do, right? That's what their parents didn't do, and at least they had a house to live in. That's the main goal, is like, I need to find a place to live, right? I'm gonna die of exposure from the weather if I don't find a place to live. So that's what they were focusing on. That's the reason why they were making all the money, which is a legitimate reason, right? People need shelter. So that's why they were doing that, and I think they don't understand. This is the really, really insulting, for myself included. Everybody who uses the shelters, they're not all like that, right? They don't get it. Like, the workers don't get it. They think they think that they're the boss and the shelter residents work for them, when it's actually the other way around, right? They work for the shelter residents. Also, they didn't know that the shelter residents weren't like them, because they couldn't personally see a difference physically and socially speaking, because they ended up at the same place, like at the shelter, and to them it's because they don't understand the whole social hierarchy and the systems and human relationships very well, right? They don't understand that just because somebody doesn't make as much money or ended up at the shelter doesn't actually mean that they deserve to be there or they did something bad to be there. Some people are like that, which is kind of the reason why a lot of people were supporting that kind of shelter system, because they couldn't legally kill them, right? So they're like, okay, well, at least put them in a shelter away from most crowds and most people, right? So they're not causing problems for other people. But not everybody in the shelter is like that. They don't actually understand this, right? Because they've seen enough people in the shelters that were like that, and this is what they believe. Okay, they're like, oh, if they're not like that now, they're gonna be like that sooner or later, because everybody's exactly the same, just like they are, right? That's what they think. So that's why they're insulting everyone by insulting me directly, saying that they don't believe that I know better than this, and that I'm not shallow and superficial like they are, because this is what they believe shallow and superficial people to look like. And shallow and superficial people all have skill sets and qualities that are admirable, but that's why they're shallow and superficial, because that's the only reason that they're talented, right? The only reason that they're talented and have anything and get anything at all is because they cannot get excessive admirations and followers, right? That's what they think. That's how they think. Okay, those are their beliefs, and that's not true. Absolutely not. It couldn't be further from the truth. It's a complete lie, but they believe it to be true. And not everybody at the shelter is like that, right? Some people actually have had jobs, some people have had families, some people have had skill sets and talents and all that kind of stuff to rely on, and for whatever reason they ended up at the shelters, right? They don't get that, right? They've never actually left their hometown, a lot of them. Even people who live in the big cities, if you've never left the big city, you might as well be living in a small town, right? It's like, okay, so you were born and raised here and you never left the country your entire life. You don't even explore the area. Like, that's a bad sign, right? Those are not good people. Those people make no sense. 100%. Like, they were born and raised in that one area and they've never left that area, and they don't know anybody outside of their immediate family members and friends that they have managed to make along the years that they've lived in that one specific area. Right? I don't think that's normal in this day and age. It might have been normal like in the 1800s, 1700s. Not so much normal anymore, right? Because times have changed, right? We're no longer using the outhouse to defecate. There's no longer horses drawing the carriages. We have cars and flushable toilets and technology such as the internet and cellular devices and the computers. And medicine has progressed from using leeches to suck out sick people's blood to actually being able to suture up stab wounds and replace multiple organs. You know, and they have also medicine now. Before, people had to drink horse semen and cow urine and tree bark in order to get better. But now people can get a little pill from the pharmaceutical companies and it actually cures all the ailments of those symptoms anyway. So that's kind of like where humanity has progressed. They don't know this, okay? The workers here, they completely don't understand this. Like, they don't get it at all. And they're frustrated because they don't understand it, and they're supposed to be better than me because they work for me. Like, that is a huge flaw in logic right there. And they think that they were better than me because they work for me, and because they work for me, they're better than me, right? And it's just not me. They work for everybody in the shelter, right? So like, just because since they work for those people, they're better than me, right? I'm their boss, thus they are better than me. They are my subordinates, thus they are better than me. That's what they're saying. This is with the EMS personnel, the health personnel, and the firemen, and the police. They all work for the civilians. Like, that's their bosses. That's who they work for, the civilians, the everyday people, a general layman, everyone who can walk down the street, that's who they work for. Yeah, those are their bosses. They think they're better than those people because they don't understand who they're working for, which is why they're very stupid. They don't know anything. In the case that they are aware of these facts, they can't apply it to themselves because they're stupid. But yeah, so they're frustrated, like the staff are frustrated that they don't get it, and they're taking out their frustration out on me, saying I shouldn't be able to get it either. Your idea of you is what's actually real, and who you actually are in reality is just a lie. That's what they believe, right? Basically, they're crazy. They're mental patients. They've hired a bunch of mental patients to work at the homeless shelters because they don't want people at the homeless shelters to feel good about themselves, because they think other people will think, oh, hey, that would be a motivation for them to get out of the shelters, when what they're actually doing is actively interfering with a person's ability to find housing or even live a healthy life. Why would anybody do that? Because they fucked up. Okay, they're fucked up in the head and they did something fucked up, which is why a person ended up at the shelters. And because they don't want to take responsibility for that, which means that they would have to pay people back and give them back their things and all that kind of stuff, and actually be able to admit that they did something wrong, which checks some modicum of maturity. They don't want to do any of that. Instead, they've tried to kill people by not killing them and hated them for no reason other than they did something wrong. Yeah, so they made a mistake, so the person who they made the mistake to is at fault for the fact that they made a mistake. They needed to have stopped the person from making a mistake. That was their job. That's what they're saying. That person's job was to make sure that that person couldn't have had people make mistakes to them. Because they're getting paid for it. Even if they don't get paid for it, they should be a good person and do that. If they don't do that, then they're the bad person, not them for making that mistake. Like, nobody understands this huge jump in logic, like this flaw in their conclusion. It makes no sense what they're saying. Which is why it's called word salad. It's ramblings of a mental patient. They don't even know that they're mentally ill. I'm pretty sure some of them are aware since they have to take medication for it. But a lot of mental patients don't like to accept their diagnosis. Their diagnosis being, oh, I have this specific diagnosis for a specific condition to which I am actually being prescribed the actual correct medication for, so that I can no longer have this ailment within a couple of years. And I am going through treatment and therapy, which is mandated from the psychiatrist since I'm going through treatment to follow along with that. Despite the fact that I can opt to choose out of treatment anytime I choose. But the fact that I am actually in treatment means that they are actually giving me psychotherapy and the medication required associated with the diagnosis. That's what that means, okay? All you idiots out there who couldn't fucking grasp a fucking Lego block, even if your lives depended on it, right? There's the answer for you. I got the answer sheet, the answer keys. This is why I think they're stupid, because I'm 26. These people are 46 who they don't even get it yet. Like, how are you? I'm 27, my bad. I'm 27 now. I'm 27. 27 years old and they still don't get it. And people who are 46, yeah, they don't understand this. And I'm like, how are you not understanding this? Why are you so stupid? Just kidding, it's because they're public school kids. The public school education has been notorious for being very, very poor in quality. Okay, everybody has repeatedly complained about this. I personally have never experienced public school education from a young age. Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily agree or know what they're talking about because I never actually was a part of the public school system since I was a kid. If I was, I'm pretty sure I would have ended up in a similar spot, which is in an awful position where I might have just ended up ODing on heroin or something. Like, that would have made sense if I was born here and had to go through public school here. Thank God that wasn't the case. Thank frickin' Lord. But yeah, that's why they're frustrated, because they don't understand this. So it's my fault that they don't understand things. So they're saying you're the problem. You know, you're the one that doesn't make sense. Not me and the rest of everyone who thinks like me. Not the group of idiots, right? It's the person who gets it that's the problem. It's definitely not, there's no way there's a bunch of people who think alike, who are all equal in IQ. That doesn't mean that they're all stupid. They could be all really smart. Yeah. I hate them. Oh my god, they're so stupid and annoying and they don't even know that they're stupid. What am I supposed to tell them? Oh, I'm sorry that you're stupid and annoying. Maybe you should talk to your mom about that. The mom's gonna be like, sweetie, you already have everything that you need from me. When she actually didn't do her job. She wasn't supposed to send her kids to public school knowing that. Why'd you even have a kid, lady? Think about that. Why did she have a kid? Why? For a moment of pleasure? Just so she can feel like she's not a homeless bum for 1 minute? So then she can say, I'm no longer this person. I'm a mother now. I'm different. I'm pretty sure that's what their moms are like. Oh, I'm a mom now. I'm different. It's different. I'm a mom now. I have responsibilities. It's still the same piece of shit, okay? Just with a kid who's most likely just as shitty as she is. they think that's happening to me because they think I'm Susan. They actually don't understand the difference because they don't understand that East Asians don't all look the same physically. They don't see it. They're like, no, you and Susan, you're all Chinese because every East Asian person in the world is Chinese. There's no variation between the East Asians. There's no such thing as Thai people. There's no such thing as Japanese. There's no such thing as Koreans. Those are just made up words for Chinese people. That's what they believe. And they think all of them are related. So they think I'm lying to them about the fact that I'm a foster kid when it's obvious to everybody that I'm a foster kid. You know why? Because they're also frustrated about the fact that it was obvious from the start they didn't want to believe it. They went along with the wrong people and it got them into shit, right? And also because they look like complete jackasses. So now they're frustrated at that. So they're blaming me and trying to convince me that I'm actually the legitimate child. I'm like, that's not my mom. I don't know why they keep telling me this. They're like, no, that has to be your mom. No, that's your mom. And then they start like crying in the bathroom after, like as if I can't tell. And I'm like, what do they want from me? Holy shit. This is not my mom. This is not my family. That's not what family do to each other, first of all. Number huge freaking red flag right there. And secondly, okay, this is the second important part. We don't look alike, but because they're so stupid, they can't even tell. They're blind. They're like, these are the same people who think all black people look the same. They don't know that black people come from this continent called Africa, and some of them aren't even from that continent. There's an island called Jamaica, okay? They also live there. Okay, there's also a bunch of islands off the coast of America that they also live in. There's a bunch of islands that they can live on. They could be from anywhere, realistically speaking. But most of the time, black people, yeah, they're racially from this continent. Okay, it's called Africa, and within Africa there's different types of, countries, like anywhere. They don't understand this. They also think all East Asians are Chinese, and they think, oh, it's because they're mixed. Oh my god. Yeah, they're racially ambiguous, as in like they actually don't know what race they are. It's not even like a two mix. It's just a bunch of mixes. It's like are they Scottish, French, English, German, Swedish, Norwegian, Dutch? I don't know. It's a mix. I actually don't know where they're from. I don't think they know either. Like I said, their mom threw away her entire life, including theirs, for a moment of pleasure. Because she wanted to have sex at night. That's it. That's the only reason she got pregnant. I can tell by the way that they're living life. Like, I know this isn't actually something that people talk about, but it's like you can't actually fight the circumstances surrounding your birth because it correlates to the environment that you are in. Anyway, thank God I was a private school kid. Oh my Jesus Lord. Imagine I was a public school kid. I would be just like the staff idiots, like working for homeless people or not being able to find a job ever in my life because my parents didn't give a shit about me because they couldn't afford to send me to private school. Why do they even have kids? Who knows? Apparently it's a government problem now because people have kids and these kids can't grow up feral on the streets. So it's better than having a kid who can't even speak English or speak any language for that matter. But they're probably better off not existing at all. Anyway, I think a lot of them are mad at me because they're like, I thought you were my friend. And I'm like, I'm just going along with you because we're exactly the same type of person, right? Because we're living in the same area. That's what you're saying. Oh, our income level is exactly the same, which means we're exactly the same type of person, right? You and I, there's no difference between you and I. What are you talking about? That's crazy talk. You and I are the exact same person. You might as well be me. If you replaced me in my life, nobody would notice. People would notice that I was gone or you were gone. They would be like, oh, I don't see a difference. That's what they would say and believe it. And they'd be truth and honest. I'm like, how do they not understand this by now? And they're like, I have no idea why they're like trying to say that's what my mom was like. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure because of the war, like some people were like kidnapped me out of my parents' house just to prove to everyone, oh, you know what? Like, it doesn't matter. If you're poor like us, she's just gonna be just like us anyway. And I'm like, what? Is that what your point was? Like, oh, you just like us. You just don't know it yet. And I'm like, what? No, I don't think so. But yeah, that's what the staff are like. It's like talking to a bunch of monkeys all day. Like, I don't know why they want me to, like, feel bad for them. Like, I get that they feel bad. I get it. And I get that they're projecting. They don't think that it's them that feels bad. They think it's me. And also, I get that they know that what they did was really shitty, and they're trying to apologize for it, but that's not gonna change anything. Which is weird. I'm like, how do you not understand that? Like, it's not gonna change a damn thing. Anyway. Also, it's annoying because some of them develop crushes on me immediately and they're like in love with me, and I totally get why. I'm basically the most amazing person on earth. Or anybody like me is also very, very amazing, and I get that a lot of people want to like be with me and stuff, and like they want to be my friend and they think I'm cool, but like at the same time, like if you're gonna come around and insult me and then expect me to be friends with you after, that's just crazy. Obviously that's not gonna happen. Especially if you're ugly and you're broke. Right? And it's like, okay, like, well, you want me to carry you around, hold your hand, and make sure that you're okay for the rest of your life? No thanks. That's not what friends do. That's not a friend. That's an enemy. Okay? That's not a friend. Friends don't do that. Friends care about each other. They're considerate. Okay? Friends care about each other, they're considerate of each other, and they want to make sure that everyone's doing the best that they can. That's a friend. Okay, these people, they're not friends. They're retarded losers who should have been left in a ditch ages ago so they can starve out, so that it doesn't affect the gene pool of humanity. Some of them, those men especially, they get so frustrated with this fact that they're not very attractive or desirable to most women, or any women that are worth considering to be procreating with, which are regular standards by everyone. They start raping other women, or raping women that they consider to be worthy of their respect. Like, basically they're fives trying to go after tens, and they rape tens because they get frustrated because they're just fives. Does that make sense? Like, he's a 5, she's a complete 10. On TV they make fun of this all the time. They're actually talking about a woman and a dog, okay? Literally, they drew a dog as if it was a human being, because like there's hot women out there who have dogs as pets, and they treat it like it's a boyfriend or like a baby or something, and they're like, oh haha, isn't it funny, like it looks like she's dating someone, but it's actually just a dog. We're just talking about a dog and a woman. That's her dog. That's a joke. Okay, that's literally the joke, the entire joke right there. They don't get this either because they're retarded, but who cares? Yeah, so I'm just like, how are they, like, they need therapists to tell them what to do. And they're like walking around aimlessly like zombies or something, like, please tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. What do I do with my life? And I'm like, oh my god, just shut the fuck up and leave me alone. That's what you should do. Ugh. Anyway, if you ever be approached by a 5 and you're a woman and this guy's doing everything he can, he's like flaying around, literally about to kill himself, trying to get your attention, you have to be like, hello, I see you over there trying to get at me, and I really respect that. Would you like to go for a drink with me? And then you just let him talk shit to you the entire night, and then you tell them, well, it just seems like you don't really like me because of all the stuff that you've said and done so far. I'm so sorry. I think it's not a good idea for us to keep dating. That's it, okay? And if he ever rapes you, then you call the police. If you don't want to take that risk, then you can be like, please, I'm so sorry, but I actually have a boyfriend. Yeah, his name is God, and he shall punish you. No, I don't recommend lying to the guy, honestly. Yeah, I think that's condescending. But, if you tell him you have a boyfriend, he'll most likely back off, but you got a stalker on your hands now. I mean, it's not like he's not going to stop stalking you after the day, but most likely there's a higher chance of him stalking you less if you kind of let him like see what he's doing and why it's not okay, and understand that it's not because he's a 5 and you're a 10. It's because even if he did it to any other woman who's also a 10, they would feel the same way, or if she was a 0 or a 5. It doesn't matter. he does it to, they're gonna feel the same way because whatever he's saying and doing is just inappropriate. That's why. That's what you gotta get across, the point that you have to explain to him. Not because you're better than him, unless you're fucking around with that guy and you're like, yeah, clearly I'm better than you, what the fuck you think? And then he's gonna end up in prison. Because he's a stupid idiot who's aiming way higher than his income level, okay? That's what that means. Oh, I'm sorry, I only earn like, what, $30,000 a year, and I got a lease for a Porsche that costs $500,000? Does that not scream broke person? I don't have any money. All my money is in a sinkhole to this car that I can't even afford to maintain after when I paid off. I don't even know which dealer sold me this car. Who would sell me this car? Bing. Yeah, that's the red alert. That's what I'm saying. Please, if you're a 5, aim for other 5s. Why would you aim for a 10? You're just gonna end up raping her. Or worse, end up in prison. Was it worth it to end up in prison to rape a 10? Everyone's gonna make fun of you in prison. People are gonna be like, what the fuck is this idiot doing here? You didn't even have to be here. Why are you here? What, because a woman said no to having your dick inside her because she's better than you in every single way and she doesn't want to be with you? Maybe she said no to you because you would rape her. Why would anybody want to date a rapist? Now you are literally a rapist after that incident. You can't say you never raped somebody anymore unless you're lying. Right? It's not something that you can actually proudly say, like, hey, I've never raped somebody in my life. That is just an idiot. You just ruined your life over some woman who doesn't even give a shit about you. Who's that idiot, you know? Why would anybody want to beat that idiot? You know, why would anybody want that idiot walking around? Who would want? I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see that guy, that idiot, ever again. Walking around like he knows what the fuck's going on when he actually has no idea and he's a fucking loser. Yeah, everyone gonna look at that guy and be like, yeah, that guy's a fucking loser. He's a loser. He's a fucking loser. You know what he did? He's a fucking idiot. You know what that happened? Oh my god, what a fucking loser. It was literally like any person that he comes across is gonna tell him that. Why would anybody want that to be in that position? I don't know. I personally don't. I don't want to be in that position. That's why I don't do those things. I don't know why anybody would.